If you are a continuous improvement professional, operations leader, or plant manager, I'm going to show you how you can increase your efficiency by 20% using real-time analytics. Let's first start by taking a look at a few case studies where current Thrive users have already met or exceeded their goal of increasing efficiency by 20%. In this case, a trailer manufacturer was able to increase the trailer output by 20% within the first 6 months after implementing Thrive goal boards. This plastic extrusion manufacturer was able to reduce non-running setup by 50% and running setup by 25% using Thrive Analytics to highlight areas of opportunity in their continuous improvement program. On the safety front, they are now achieving record lows in safety incident rates and all-time lows in workers' comp. Although this one is not a production efficiency metric, Justin was able to find a way to remove 95% of the time he was spending administering one of his continuous improvement initiatives. By moving from a mostly manual tracking method to a highly automated audit process using Thrive, Justin not only took back 3 to 6 hours per month of his work life, but the program also benefited from faster feedback loop and a higher employee engagement. Maybe you're an operations manager or a plant manager or a project manager like William or Kathy or Ross in this picture, and you're trying to keep your finger on the pulse of your operation, but frustrated by having to make decisions using outdated information. Or maybe you're in continuous improvement and you're a leader like Jeremy or Ken or Dan, and also pictured here, and you're trying to bring about a positive change to your organization, but you find yourself spending hours and hours after everyone else has gone home and you're still there wading through the data of these many disconnected data sources. Maybe you're really intuitive and you've tried to build some tools on your own. You're using Access or Excel, or maybe you found the latest software or app that's out there and you've downloaded it and you've tried to use it, but you might even be trying to combine a few of these into some sort of integrated tool or a step-by-step process. But you're finding that you can't get the data collection and the tracking and the reporting devices all to come together in the way that you expect, and you're just frustrated by your lack of success or lack of achieving that ultimate goal. So like others with the continuous improvement mindset, I know you're willing to keep trying and sometimes even failing. Of course, in the CI world, we don't call that failing, right? We call that learning. Those are ways to learn and to keep getting better. So in your quest to learn and to solve your problems, we know you've got the right mentality, so don't take it personal. It's not your fault. These options that you're finding that are there for you at your disposal, they weren't built for continuous improvement. They weren't built for operations managers. They weren't built to grow with your process as you improve and change. So though you haven't found that solution and your problem-solving nature has you convinced that a solution does exist, and by way of watching this video, I think you're on the right track to finding that elusive solution. Thrive has been a continuous improvement project for the past 15 years and designed specifically for the needs and problem solvers like you. Again, Thrive was designed by and for continuous improvement and operations leaders and was designed for the needs and the problems that you're experiencing right now. So maybe you've even been able to use brute force or overcome some of the obstacles and achieve some early success. However, the amount of effort that you're required to maintain the manual process is exhausting, costly, and unfortunately most likely not sustainable. So that leaves you again with that worry and that tension and that apprehension that without a good system to keep your controls in place, you feel like your hard-earned progress and process improvement initiatives are going to slide backwards as you try to turn your focus into the next continuous improvement challenge. You're going to lose sight and something's going to go wrong with the current gains that you've already made. But the good news is that you don't have to continue worrying long after you've gone home. Remember Justin we talked about earlier, and that he was able to take 3 to 6 hours more per month that he was able to put back into his life, that he was able to use for something more productive, whether it was at work or to go home a little earlier and spend it on a leisure activity. So by saving that 3 to 6 hours per month in administering data, he was able to put that back into something positive in his life. So rest assured, there is a solution that will allow you to control your own data destiny and will help you keep your continuous improvement initiatives on that sustainable track. So here's the core concept. If you can start thinking this way, you will be able to leave the old ways behind and take control of your own data destiny. You may have been conditioned to think that Excel is the only alternative to those rigid softwares that force your hand, and that Excel is the only one that gives you the ability to make changes to your process, but that's no longer true. In the past, implementing a new software solution could take months, maybe required an IT. Hello, I'm Kale Sparling, Vice President of Lean Technologies. Along with Jamie Joeli and Scott Sorheim, we'd like to commend you for your efforts to try to make your operations stronger and to continue to look for those tools that are going to help you achieve your goals for increased efficiency. Lean Technologies was founded by Scott in 2003 for the very same reasons that you are watching this video today. After spending time in various operations and maintenance leadership roles, Scott felt he and his peers were spending more time managing data than managing their teams and the process. Scott started by solving a few data handling problems for the maintenance team. Then it wasn't long before his improvements and user interface tools caught the attention of his peers and the other leaders, and he began getting requests to help them. With a few successes under his belt, Scott felt he could make a bigger impact and help more people solve their problems, like you, by building a platform of tools for others to use. And this is how Thrive was born. On the shop floor, by operations and continuous improvement leaders, for operations and continuous improvement leaders. So now, more than 15 years later, the running joke in Scott's household and around the office is, when will Thrive be done? Well, Thrive in of itself is a continuous improvement project, and as you know, that's never ending. We just cycle through and we're continuing to make those incremental improvements, and that allows us to take on the new challenges that you're facing today and into tomorrow. Our goal is to be a long-term partner with your organization. So we believe that because Thrive directly solves the issues faced on the plant floor, is continuously developed with direct input from users like yourself, and our focus is on customer satisfaction in the long run. That has been the reason that every manufacturer that has purchased Thrive since 2003 is still using Thrive today. We're very proud of that fact and humbled by the support of all of those Thrive users. So enough about us. Let's start talking about how you can achieve that 20% efficiency goal. While there have been volumes of books and papers published on problem solving and business improvement processes, we've tried to boil the path to improved efficiency down to 4 basic steps. If you follow these steps, you will be able to achieve the 20% goal. Before we jump into those 4 steps, let's start by acknowledging that all process improvement initiatives must start with the right people, and will only be sustainable if the people of the organization are on board. I think we can all agree that if you expect the software to come in and to alone solve the problem, or to be your easy button or magic button, then we're going to end up being disappointed at some point in the future. So we've got to start with the right people before we can start to apply the right tools. So first step, define the process. Defining and documenting the process is a critical starting point to maintain a standard and achieve repeatable performance. Be sure to include the necessary steps or actions to be taken and who should take ownership of each step. Finally, the process definition should include the metrics that are key to measuring the performance, in this case, the efficiency of the process. Choose carefully, as the KPIs will, and they should, impact human behavior and become the primary motivator for the people. Everybody wants to achieve that goal, right? We've got that internal competitiveness. So, however, you might find that your selection of KPI results in some employee improving the metric, by responding in an unforeseen ways or creating an undesirable outcome in another process or KPI. So you've got to stay engaged and be prepared to modify, redesign, or enact a counterbalancing KPI to ensure the best holistic outcome. So it's a continuous improvement process right from the beginning. We've got to be ready to refine and modify. So at the minimum though, the process should be documented and available for review and training new employees. However, it's even better when you can integrate tools such as Thrive to assist you in carrying out that process. So when we look at the blue and green color coding on that chart of steps 1 through 4, there's the basic manual way, and then there's the way that you can start to automate or assist your process with the tools. So for example, a tool that can help you ensure information is flowing correctly from the process steps, such as a handoff of workflow or an assignment from one process step to another. Step 2, collect process data. So without data, you really don't know how the process is performing. As the old saying goes, if we're not keeping score, we're just practicing. So while this seems simple and obvious, the real challenge comes in collecting the right data and ensuring data integrity. After all, garbage in equals garbage out. It's common for this step to progress through a few different phases. So when we're collecting process data, in the beginning, someone usually writes down the information or data values on a piece of paper. Maybe it's a paper form that you've created, a template, and photocopy them and put them out on the floor. Or maybe you have a table of information, you put it on a clipboard and somebody's jotting down information every hour to help summarize what they've done. In any case, the data then needs to be handed off or collected. So usually you assign somebody to go around and collect the information, or the person creating the data is required to go put it in somebody's inbox and that person's collecting the data. But in some way the information is being collected and pulled together. Then once the information is pulled together, someone's got to skim through the data and make some observations, perform some sort of sorting or collation or summarization of the data. It may be even someone's role to take the information that's on the piece of paper and transfer it into a digital format. So maybe they're entering it into Excel, which is usually our go-to tool, right, when we get started with something like that. But in some way, we try to help ourselves by adding it into a digital format. So this is where you can start to see opportunities to really streamline your process. So if you can imagine, as we noted earlier, Justin was spending 3 to 6 hours per month on just one process, doing these very types of tasks of collecting information on a piece of paper, shuffling it, sorting it, moving it, trying to put it into electronic format. So now imagine if that person collecting the data was able to enter it directly into an electronic format, even maybe in a mobile device out on the shop floor, right where the process is happening, and you could eliminate the time spent on manual data handling. Even better, what if that data entry process helped to ensure that the correct fields were being populated, provided immediate feedback to the data entry person, maybe it immediately alerted you to the process exceptions that are going on, or notified the next person in the process workflow that it was their turn to take action. So you can see that you can start to build in data integrity into your tool if you have the right tool for the job. So with a tool that eliminates manual data handling, ensures the process is being followed, and enhances communication amongst the process owners, you're going to be able to accelerate the timeline to achieving that 20% efficiency goal. Step 3 is to analyze and report on the data. To get the most out of the information, you need to see the data presented in a timely and meaningful way. This process data will also allow you to establish a baseline of the current state and establish goals for improvement. In the past, this step has had a tendency to add a lot of lag time to the process. If the data is manually tracked on paper and spreadsheet or some other tracking tool, we then need to transform the data in some way to make it presentable and meaningful to the decision makers on your team. Unfortunately, the time that it takes to make it presentable and meaningful also compromises our goal of being timely with that information. So in a little while, we'll hear from Dan as he found himself in this very position. His machine operators were spending a few minutes every hour jotting down on a piece of paper their production output. Then Dan had to collect the sheets at the end of the shift and then transfer all the data to Excel. Then once in Excel, he had to convert the data into production reports to share with managers in each of the areas. And as we've all experienced, that proliferation of one spreadsheet or one tab into multiple tabs, and then one spreadsheet into a new tab, and then we email it and we try to share it, and then somebody creates a copy of it. It just evolves into that spreadsheet chaos. We've all been there. We know what that's like. It's painful. We're looking for a way out. That's where you're at today. You're looking for a way out of the old way. The alternative route is to use a data analysis and reporting tool that allows you to create templates for your reports. So by using a single template for each metric, you then can allow the manager or the process owner to see each of the process owners to see the same metrics using the same template, but to be able to filter out the information that's not relevant to them. So they might be able to set a filter for just their department or just a certain set of machines. So it allows them to make use of that template you've built, but configure it to be special for them. So congratulations, if you can get to this point, you've now saved yourself a ton of work. And if your analysis and reporting tool is the same tool that you've used for collecting the data at the source, you have successfully removed non-value add bottleneck right from the source, right from your process, and you'll be able to achieve that goal of 20% efficiency even sooner. So now we move on to step 4, and we may say this is the final step, but really this is a continuous improvement loop. So step 4, once we complete it, is going to feed us back into step 1 to refine our process if needed, or possibly right back into step 2 where we're collecting information again about the improvements we've made. So in this step 4, we are going to identify the opportunities and create an action plan. This portion of the process connects back to the beginning where we took care to make sure we had the right people on the team. So in step 4, if we're going to have people making decisions and taking action, it goes back to having the right team in place. So if you can have the right team, the right people, you can empower them to find the opportunities and take that action with few restrictions. So as you can see, step 4 is where the improvement really begins to take shape. Step 4 is where the value is generated. While step 1 did generate some value in that we have an asset, again, a documented process that we can refer back to. However, step 2 and step 3 really only existed to enable step 4 to generate improvement, ideas, and actions. Again, step 2 and step 3 are just a gateway to help us do a better job in step 4. So therefore, if we can eliminate or strive to eliminate as much time as possible manually performing steps 2 and step 3, we have an opportunity to automate steps 2 and steps 3. We're going to ensure that the necessary information is available in a timely fashion to be successful in step 4. So in the past, in the old way, the manual way, step 4 may look like something like the following. We schedule a meeting on Friday afternoon. You and me and one of our colleagues, we get together and huddle, and we talk about the week, the summary for the week. We may have some spreadsheets that each of us bring to the table, and we've spent some time, hopefully not very much time, but in reality we've probably spent hours putting that information together and analyzing it so that we can be prepared for the meeting, only to do it all over again next Friday, right? So we have our meeting, we look at the information, we make an action plan, we each write down our own action plan in our little notebook, and we say goodbye for the weekend and plan to get started early on Monday morning. Monday morning rolls around, it's Monday, right? It can be hard to get motivated, or maybe there's a lot of stuff going on at the plant drawing your attention away, and you don't get to those action items right away. And then Tuesday and Wednesday roll around, and you've already started in your notebook creating a number of other action items, and you've lost sight of those ones that you committed to doing on Friday. So we get back together on Friday. You've scrambled to get your information pulled together with all the other constraints on your time. You get together, we get together on Friday afternoon, and I look at my list and say, oh, I forgot to, I ran out of time. I lost sight of that. It's 3 pages back in my notebook. And pretty soon we've went weeks and weeks where we've not been able to make headway on our efficiency goals. So we've been there. We know what that's like. There is an alternative. So the alternative is you could be using a tool where you can document your action plans and assignments. The team members can all monitor their own assignments from the team and others all in one place. You can have an organized fashion of looking at what have we committed to do and what is our progress on each. Again, it's all about closing the loop. So you can add to that to really help move the process along is notifications and escalations via email or text messaging that can be sent to those members to remind them that they have a pending due date or an overdue due date. These improved visibility of all this information, again, leads to that closing the loop on those action items. And when you're really good at this, you're shortening the cycle time of these steps 1 through 4, and making that cycle time shorter leads to a faster realization of that 20% goal. So in recap, how do you improve efficiency? You got to start by finding the right leaders and the right team, and then you define the process, including the metrics for measuring the performance of the process. You collect the data, you analyze and report on the data that needs to be reported on in a meaningful and a timely fashion, and then you use the information that you have to identify opportunities and take action. Again, you've got to empower the people on the team to take that action and to make those decisions. And then you need to close the loop to make sure those things are getting done and that you can continue through that cycle of improvement so that you can keep marching on your path to achieving your 20% goal. Again, we have the old way, the manual way. We've all been there before. You can collect data on paper forms. You can transfer paper notes to Excel and try to create reports, but then you're maintaining those over and over and over. You're dedicating hours per week for your team to collate and summarize the information. You might even invest it in a software for one specific purpose, but then you're fighting it because it's dictating your process or it's not linking to your other data sources. So you're finding yourself being held back. You're not in control of your own data destiny. You're going slower than you want to go. You want to push. You're aggressive. You're ready to get there. You're ready to achieve that goal and keep on going. Or you can do the Thrive way, the continuous improvement way. Apply continuous improvement to your continuous improvement process, right? You can configure Thrive to enhance your process, not dictate it, but to enhance your process. You can collect data electronically. You can almost eliminate steps 2 and 3 of that data flow of handing off information, because you can enter it directly into the system and it can flow directly into your analysis tools. They're all in the same system. They talk together. It's seamless. People from different departments can all look at the same tools. You can assign actions and have the tool help you to ensure that you're closing the loop. You can accelerate your drive to that improved efficiency. You can get there faster. You can take control of your own data destiny. Let's look at the slide one more time on how the 4 steps are going to take us from our current state or our baseline to achieving that 20% efficiency increase. If we look at it this time in a comparative timeline and base it on the information we talked about, the manual way where there's a lag time in each one of the steps, If we looked at this as a volume stream map, we would call that whip or delay or moving material unnecessarily. If we look at it the Thrive way in the green boxes, we can shorten that timeline and make that data transfer a seamless and a real-time information rather than it causing lag time. You can see how we can iterate through the process much faster. We can get to our goal sooner, and we can blow it away, and we can keep on going. Again, this is for operations leaders, plant leaders, continuous improvement professionals, anyone that's on the shop floor making things happen. You're a self-starter. You want to get things done. You want to be in control of your own data destiny. Let's look at a few case studies. This one is from HES in their production tracking. We're going to talk about a few pain points that they were having. Well, let's hear it from them.
We were tracking manually all of our assembly throughput out there on our production lines. We have over 30 production lines, some of which are very high volume. We already had our homegrown system, which was not only burdensome to IT, but it was plagued with issues. We were constantly fighting through bugs and glitches and things that basically would prevent the operators from doing their work. So there was a high level of frustration. We put Thrive in, and immediately it just worked. And so just based on that alone, the assembly operators were very excited about the system. Hey, I can just do my job now and not have to play with the system.
I've been here about.
So again, you might be able to resonate with some of those pain points. Manually tracking data for multiple lines. You might have a homegrown system that's causing more problems than it's helping. So then what was the current state, or where did they go with that? So they put Thrive in, and he said it just worked. So instantly people are feeling relief, and the tension is going away between the different departments of IT and the operations. The supervisors are able to perform their jobs better. They have more information at their fingertips. So let's hear a little bit more from Eddie on the current state.
So we currently use the goal boards to help track data. It's a great useful tool for us. It enables me to kind of get an idea of what our goals are for the day and where we are with those goals. There are also some cool features that from a supervisory role that I have, I can dig into and understand what issues they are logging throughout the day, when they're logging these issues. Thrive allows me to work more efficiently and more effectively in analyzing how we are doing overall as a production team.
And here's another case study of a 6S audit process. Let's hear what Justin has to say.
So when I came into my role, this was all manual. Like I said, it was in that paper format. So I was spending anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to essentially read what my champions wrote. So I had to decipher some handwriting, which was some of the portion of that time. I had to then physically key it into Excel, because that was kind of my that's where we held our data for data integrity purposes. So I'd have to key that into Excel. I have to in some of that time, I was building some validation in Excel. So I was building some VLOOKUP tables, and I was building a variety of different things in Excel to try to automate that as much as possible. Even after I did that, it was still taking me around 3 to 6 hours to decipher what the champions were reading or writing, and then what they actually were meaning by what they wrote, which was also sometimes a piece of that. And then I'd also have to do this aggregate and this calculation.
So again, you're hearing some themes here, pain points about manual data tracking, how much time it's spending for the administrators or the leaders of the group to manage that information. And you're talking about how long it takes for a process to cycle through so that you can make those improvements. So let's hear the outcome after Justin was able to start using the Thrive tools.
When I have an idea on how to make my life easier, or how to make the production life easier, or how to make my champion's life easier, I'm empowered and able to just make that manipulation in the program and not have to queue it up, wait, etc. I can find real life savings and time savings right then and there.
So again, Justin talks about that empowerment, being able to take the tool that he has and use the information to go make the process better and to improve their operation. Let's now look at a case study of an effective problem-solving system. So this is from Pete. They've been using Thrive for 10 plus years. So they've evolved into not just solving a single problem, but using Thrive as a tool as part of their overall problem-solving system to make all of areas of their operation better. So before Thrive has a lot of discussion about mostly paper tracking, feeding the beast, meaning the ERP system at the time, but feeling like they're always looking in the rear view mirror or rear view looking of information because it wasn't timely to get information back out of the system. So by the time, the quote is, by the time we received the information, it wasn't timely to solve the problems. So now that they're using Thrive, we have an entire basis for an effective problem-solving system, and we have real-time tracking, and they use shift and daily reports. So let's hear from Pete about the results.
That's been a huge value for us. From a results standpoint, we've done multiple setup reduction events using the Thrive data, based on the last number of times that goal board is ran, or based on the last 30 days or 90 days, to see what the baseline is and where we're at. So we've achieved, I'd say we looked at the top 80% of our business is about 125 of our 1,000 dies, and we've taken half of those and reduced those non-running setup times 50% and running setups 25%. So, in our size business, the value, the ROI, I'd say is, north of $1 million, into the millions, and that I talk is potential. Also, we use it for safety incident tracking, and real time, and those messages come directly to all leadership team members and engineers, and so we're on safety right away. So the incident investigations happen immediately. It's driving improvement for us. We're at record lows, this month in our incident rate, all-time lows in our workers' comp claims. So,
congratulations.
It drives a lot of improvement at Intech.
So again, think about those results. They met their 20% goals and kept on going. They're at 50% non-running setup reduction times, 25% reduction in their running setup. They've been able to drive down their safety incident rates to record lows and all-time lows in workers' comp. So again, this isn't just the tool that's solving this problem. This is having the right people, developing a good process, continuously improving that process, and giving them the right tool to be efficient with that process. Here's a case study from Dan, machine monitoring at Sergeant Locke. Dan was in that manual data collection pain. We talked about him earlier. He was spending time every day and every week running through that manual process. He called it almost like a second or third job. Ever feel that way? So let's hear from Dan.
So I can check real-time status of any machine that we have connected right now, so I can tell you which machine's running, which ones are not. I could kind of drill down a little further and say why it's not running. When the last time it ran, I can see how many parts it ran, which parts it ran. And then we like to we have our whole manager's dashboard as far as all production data from today, how we're doing hour by hour. Plus we see what we did yesterday, and we have week to date, month to date, year to date also.
Wow.
A neat little feature we have coming out of the G2 pinning machines is we have every cylinder we have pinned. We can track it by order number, by sequence number, by cylinder type. We could drill down as far as which operator did it. It's really nice as far as A, tracking it, but B, for quality purposes.
Sure.
If there's any issue, we can always go back and communicate, talk with the operator and say, hey, do what happened here, Was there a problem? Was there a problem with the machine? Do you remember these parts? You know, it gives us a lot of hard data versus before, where it was a lot of kind of guessing and assuming, right?
Sure.
So again, let's take it back to that step 4. Can you imagine if you and me and Dan were in a room, and before state, we were doing the guessing and assuming and trying to make improvements to our process. And now the 3 of us can sit in the room and we can have the hard data to make those decisions. How much more effective are we going to be? So those are some case studies. We get to hear the audio clips. Let's see what others have had to say about their Thrive experience. We put Thrive in and immediately it just worked, from Travis. From Dan, so far the results have been very positive. We have had 20% productivity improvements across 2 different plants. One of the plants has seen approximately $190,000 in cost savings in 2018. Crit says we have reduced our external customer complaints by 40% over the last year. This is directly tied to verifying that our processes are being done accurately and completely on the floor. Again, you have to have the process. The tool is there to help you ensure that the process is being followed properly. So Crit's combining that step 1 of developing the process with a tool that helps enhance it and get them to step 4 and to circle back through that process. Moses says it took us approximately 30 days from initial setup to employees fully embracing Thrive. Productivity year to year has increased at this facility, primarily due to Thrive. The associates like it as a quick report card. They can quickly see how they are measuring to what we would like them to be. Again, real-time visibility, communication. Jeff says, we have been using Thrive for 1.5 years. It took 2 weeks to set up. I have 8 different cells and I can monitor the performance of all of my cells on one dashboard. Ross, as a manager, it meaning Thrive, gives me instant access to the status of every production line in the facility at any time. It also gives every production line a direct conduit of communication. It has really ramped up our communication capabilities between the line and leadership. Brad, the Chief Operating Officer, says Thrive has been the easiest deployment of software that I have experienced in 33 years of operations. It gives the floor a sense of purpose. The leads and the operators have a great sense of pride. When they are falling below the flight plan, they start working together to get back above the flight plan, which translates right into direct labor cost. So again, communication of expectations, real-time feedback. They're able to take and empower them to make improvements and stay on track. Eddie says there are cool features from that a supervisor role that I can dig into and understand what issues the line operators are logging throughout the day. Thrive allows me to work more efficiently and effectively in analyzing overall how we are doing as a production team. Comments from IT manager Jared says, thank you all so much for your help. It is always a pleasure working with this team. Justin says, when I have an idea on how to make my life easier, or to make the production life easier, or how to make my champion's life easier, I am empowered and able to just make that manipulation in the program and not have to queue it up with IT to wait, etc. I can find real life savings and time savings right then and there. Fred says, the beauty of Thrive is knowing that if the data is in there, I can get it back out, referring to the reporting and dashboarding tools within Thrive. Zeke says, the report that you made is awesome. I'm already using it for tonight's and the remainder of the week assignments. Thank you so much. Again, information at your fingertips, flowing through real time. Heidi, thanks again for your help. You and Kale really do a good job of listening to what we need and offering solutions to make things easy. It's quite refreshing. Thanks again for your suggestions and attention to details. I can't get over how cool this is going to be. Manuel, director of IT says, what helps from an IT standpoint is that I don't have to create additional reports or develop different applications to reach the data. So for the IT department, it is a burden taken off our shoulders because the users are now able to reach the data in ways they were not able to do before. Jason, a general manager, says we definitely have streamlined the effectiveness and the efficiency of many of our business processes through the utilization of Thrive. The fact that it is web-based, the fact that it is real-time, that we can do KPI and metric reporting out of it, the workflow processes associated with Thrive, there's oftentimes no good reason not to use Thrive. Thank you, Jason. So who are these comments coming from? They are coming from operations leaders, plant managers, general managers, IT directors, process improvement leaders like yourself, in companies like Vermeer and Assa Abloy and Pella Windows and Doors, Masonite, these large multi-billion-dollar companies. Those same comments are coming from smaller to medium-sized companies with tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues that are making trailers or conveyor systems. They're doing some sort of specialty manufacturing. They're doing basement reinforcement products, defense contractors. They're doing plastic extrusions, paper products, sheet metal bending, making trailers, making windows, making other building products. Companies like us at Lean Technologies, we're using Thrive for our continuous improvement and monitoring projects. We've got other companies that are, again, machine shops, aluminum foundries, all kinds of manufacturing are being able to benefit from Thrive. So what are those benefits? You're going to be able to deploy the software in days without the help of an IT department. You can use your existing hardware, your PCs, your mobile devices, anything with the browser's going to be sufficient. The operations team will be able to administer the system. You can get IT help if you want, but it's designed by and for people just like you that can administer it themselves. You'll have unlimited users. You can turn on any of the CI tools that you want to use as you want to use them, no additional cost. It's mobile friendly, so the application allows data at the point of use to be collected and flow directly into the system. You can immediately begin tracking data with real-time reports and dashboards. You can start making more informed decisions, and you can stop spending those hours and hours each week manually rolling up Excel files into summary reports. You can control your own data destiny. So what are the features that are going to help you achieve that or to see those benefits? Again, it's a web-based application. It's mobile friendly. It works on any operating system with a web browser. It's unlimited users. It has continuous improvement tools for CI event tracking, hour-by-hour productivity tracking with visual management on the shop floor. You have project management. You have audit tools. You have notifications and escalations via text messaging and SMS to keep the information flowing. You have real-time reporting and dashboards. You have a feature called form security. Helps you control the information that's visible on the forms, and you can do that by field level security and with visibility and the naming of fields to fit your terminology. A few screenshots here. Let's start with the home screen and the menu. You can see highlighted the continuous improvement. You might notice that there's some other modules. We'll mention those later. Again, screenshots of mobile devices. You can use the tools on any of these types of mobile devices, tablets, laptops, phones, anything with a browser, you can use it. We have the goal boards. This is your visual tool on the shop floor that communicates expectations or goals throughout the day to the operations and allows them to enter their data directly, whether it's productivity tracking, issue tracking, what mode they're running in so that you can understand where they're using their time. We have continuous improvement events so you can track your goals, your initiatives, your notes from the meeting, your homework so that you can close the loop with assignments. We have project management, so any of those projects you can keep track of them, track them by status using real-time reporting and dashboards. We have continuous improvement audits that allow you to build out audit templates so that you can deploy those via mobile devices and get direct feedback. It allows you to develop that feedback with flexible data types, so you can use, if you want integer feedback, if you want a text-based feedback, you want a comment style feedback, you want to have them pick from a list. It allows you to do that, set your form up in that way. You can develop expected results so that you can use the alerts to notify people if you get abnormalities or unexpected results in your feedback. Again, this information is flowing directly into your reporting and analysis tool, so it's real time. So what do you got to do? What's next? Schedule a 15-minute introductory call. Find the button below this video on the web page, click it, pull up the schedule, establish a time that works well for you. We'll give you a call. This is going to be your first step to take control of your own data destiny with a suite of continuous improvement tools. During that call, we're going to ask a few questions, get to know you, understand your process. Our goal is to make sure that Thrive is going to be a good fit for you and your organization. So again, book that call, click the button, book it right now, and we'll be in touch soon. As a bonus, if you sign up right now and get that call scheduled, we're going to give you a special introductory offer. We'd love to tell you about that during the call. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. As I mentioned, in that 15-minute call, we're going to be getting to know you, to understand your goals and your processes. We want to be a long-term partner with you. We've worked hard to maintain our current rate of 100% customer retention since the very first customer back in 2005. However, if you find that Thrive is not a fit, there are no long-term contracts, we're going to make it right. You can cancel your subscription at any time. So take the next step to take control of your own data destiny. Thrive's going to be hosted, it's web-based, gives you hour-by-hour productivity tracking, project management, CI event tracking, unlimited users, you get all those features. So schedule the introductory call. We'll take that first step to getting to know you and making sure that Thrive's going to be a good fit for you and help you get on your way to establishing or realizing that 20% efficiency improvement goal. So if you're still with us at this point, thank you for hanging around, listening to the presentation. I want to try to answer a few questions for you that you may have been thinking throughout the time that you've spent with us. You want to know, who is using Thrive, and again, it's not about the size of the company, it's about the heart of the company. It's about your mindset. Are you continuous improvement minded? Are you lean minded? Do you want to take the lean principles that you've applied to your manufacturing process and apply it to your continuous improvement process? So let's take that waste out. We talked about there's waste in our manual manual problem solving processes of steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's a lot of opportunity to streamline and remove waste from steps 2 in that data collection processing step and in that transforming and reporting and analyzing step. So if you're somebody that wants to streamline that, then Thrive, and you've got spreadsheet chaos and manual data collection going on, Thrive is going to be a good fit for you. But give us a call or schedule that time. We'll give you a call and we'll talk through it and make sure that's the case. Is Thrive an ERP, MRP, MES? What acronym applies, right? Well, Thrive is not an ERP, and we have some videos on our website about this. Thrive is not an ERP. We consider the ERPs to be top down from the financial driven, the accounting side, the manufacturing tracking at the dollars and cents levels, the orders level. Thrive is meant to be your shop floor process management tool with the productivity tracking tools that we have in visual factory management tools. It does overlap a little bit with some of the MES systems out there, but Thrive fits that niche that it provides you with many tools to manage your processes, and not just the MES style tools and not just the ERP style tools. However, you might want to know, does Thrive link to other systems? And yes, definitely. There's a lot of good, valuable information in your ERP. Let's leverage that, right? You can connect to it. There are opportunities to connect to ERPs, to connect to other MES systems, so those things are a viable option. Usually those come down the road, so after you get started, you might find more value in connecting your systems. But whatever the progression is, that is a viable option. How do I know if Thrive will work for me? Again, it goes back to mindset. Are you wanting to not only improve your plant floor process, but do you want to improve your continuous improvement processes all around? Where can I take and eliminate manual data management systems? Where can I take stress out of my life or take back time for my life by eliminating spreadsheet chaos? If these types of things are initiatives for you or important to you, then Thrive could be a good fit. How do I get started? Again, schedule that 15-minute call. We'll talk through the process. We'll talk through your goals and your needs and your operations and what suits you well, and we'll make sure it's the right fit, and then we can help you get started. So what is included in the Thrive subscription? How many users do I get? Well, again, you get all of those elements of the continuous improvement module of Thrive. So CI event tracking, project management, audits, goal boards, which is your productivity tracking tools. As far as users, you get unlimited users, so eliminate that old method of sharing usernames and then not realizing who's entering information and having those conflicts. Give everybody their own user account so that you know where the information's coming from. When you're going back and trying to do an audit trail, you can find out where the information started and who was involved in the process. How long will it take before I can start using Thrive for my process? Well, once we have established that line of communication and we can get you started, and you've either provided a purchase order or put your credit card in for the subscription, we can get you set up in just a matter of days, and at that point you will dictate the pace. Do you want to do some training and get started right away on a daily basis? Do you need, for some resource reasons within your organization, need to do it once a week and slowly build up to that process to change over? It's going to be up to you at that point to dictate the pace. How do I get training for Thrive? We will start with one-on-one training or one-on a small group of your team to train, but we like to train the trainer model. So we'll pick one or two people to be your main point of contact, your main Thrive administrator. We're going to train you on how to use the system, and then you can train others and you can administer the system. And we think you'll find that to be a very streamlined process and quick and easy. The other ways to get trained, and we'll do that web-based, so over web conferencing, and again, it's dictated at your pace. Do you want to do daily or weekly? How fast do you want to get there? The other option is we have online documentation, so it has some YouTube video tutorials, has some screenshots, so we have a web page set up just for that purpose. And then we have, once you become a user, we have an opportunity for you to be invited to our Thrive webinars that we have on a monthly or quarterly basis, where we are introducing new tools that are being deployed or doing case studies on how others are getting value and having benefits out of the system, or possibly just taking feedback and understanding what direction would you as a user of Thrive like to see features going. So this is our Gemba. This is where we are learning from the users directly. Does Thrive come with standard reports? Yes, Thrive has a number of, measured in the dozens of standard reports that help you see your data right away. Can I make my own reports? Most definitely. You can start from scratch and build a report. Most people find the quickest way is to start with some standard report and start to tweak it, modify it, spawn it off to be something specific to solve some specific need for them, but you have everything from standard reports to modifying existing templates to building your own from scratch. Does Thrive offer tools beyond continuous improvement? Yes, I alluded to this back in the screenshot of the Thrive menu. There are tools available. Once you've mastered continuous improvement tools and you're finding value there, you know how to administer the system, we can talk with you about other opportunities to turn on safety management tools, to turn on engineering management tool, project management tool, quality management tools. So there's a lot of opportunities there. They're built on the same platform. You get to use all of the same base tools for form administration, the escalations and notifications, the reporting, the dashboard. So the training, the learning curve is very short for those types of tools because you've already learned it in continuous improvement. So again, schedule that call, click the button, sign up. We'll give you a call, 15 minutes. We'll keep it short and sweet, but we want to learn more about you, your goals, try to help you establish if Thrive can be a fit so that we can help you have that tool that iterates through your continuous improvement process, those steps 1 through 4. Get through those faster and achieve that 20% goal and maybe even blow it away and keep on going. Thanks, and we look forward to talking to you.